Good morning, everyone. We're going to start our class sitting upright. And again, as you know, you can sit in a position of comfort. So taking ourselves from the rushing to get here to the slowness of the class. So in sitting, it's always a little bit of assistance using of your hand. So take your hands behind your buttocks and just pull them back a little bit. It gives a little bit more assistance of tilting of your hips forward, but without collapsing of your lower back. So it's sort of the direction of the front of your body to the back of your body. But I would say it's like a little bit of a sandwich, everything drawn into center and ensuring that your tailbone isn't curving in. And hands onto your knees and just a gentle closing of your eyes. So sitting tall and strong. And as you know, the connection of the outer edges of your feet, connection of your sitting bones, and growing of your spine, lengthening of your neck, yet the soft closing of your eyes, your eyelashes down, at the same time your shoulder blades descend. And just sitting in quietness, listening and guiding of your breath. And that we have big open space, our space, the fullness of your next in-breath, and a complete sigh on your exhale. And do that a few times, slowly drawing in. And it's the blending together with the in-breath, the ease of sitting tall, yet firm, and the ease of the sigh upon your exhale, taking away any little tightness that has arrived. And in what brings us here together for the start of our practice, I'm just doing a little check, how your body feels, how your breath is, and where your thoughts are. And if they have traveled away, bring them back in. And just the direction of your thoughts, if they travel away, take it to your breath. As you draw your next in-breath, lift your shoulders up. Keep your shoulders up and strong. At the same time, a sigh upon your exhale. In-breath, lift them a little higher. And exhale, allow your shoulder blades just to slide down the back of your ribs. And still directing your chest to your spine, yet your spine to your heart. And now gently press your right fingers onto your right neck and just give a little bit of a massage, just with the movement of your fingers to find that tight spot and sort of blending together, feeling it through the side of your neck, your upper shoulders, but then the massage and noticing the tightness just with your fingers. And then choosing, could we write down the seam on the top of your shoulders and the side of your neck, or sometimes a little adjustment, perhaps it's a little farther back or a little farther forward. So just do a little traveling, exploring where the tightness is. And then when you feel a place that's really tight and resists, stay there, but draw a complete breath in. And a sigh on your exhale. And then gently draw your head back to center. and subtly of your right hand down. We'll change sides. So this time left fingers onto the tightness of your right or left shoulder and neck, and then your fingers take a little travel around. It's like a little patting of your paws. And then, as you know, when you find that stuff that's really tight and firm, keep your fingers directing down, but have a full breath in, lifting up, and a sigh on your exhale. Almost like a little bit of a deep massage. Even when you're holding the tight spot with your fingers pressing down, just a little bit of a movement, almost like a little bit of a pulsing to keep the blood traveling there and then sort of loosening up. And then slowly take your head back up to center, neck long, just roll your shoulders a few times. So as before, place your right fingers onto your right shoulder and place your left fingertips down. And so of course, as your fingertips press down, you lift up. Then as you lean to the side, take the palm of your hand down, left palm down, press it down and away, and just notice how your ribs can travel a little bit more towards the right, almost creating a little bit of a C. And then your fingers can stay onto your shoulder, maybe onto the crown of your head, or maybe extending. So it's almost like creating the letter C. Your sitting bones down, the growing and lengthening through the right side of your body, and then a soft curving. And as you press your left hand down, it's always that continuum down and away as your shoulders lengthen a little bit more so on the right side. And then place your fingers, if not already, back onto your shoulder. Pop up onto your left fingertips and bring yourselves back to center. Lower your hand down and a little shake, shake. And we'll change sides. Fingers onto your left shoulder, right fingertips down. So fingers down, growing tall, walking away, and then all four sides of your right palm down, down and away, your shoulders expand. And so just ensure that both of your sitting bones stay grounded, and your fingers can stay onto your shoulder, to your head, or creating the letter C. Just find the places of most comfort. Now, just make sure that your belly isn't moving forward. It's still being drawn back. Go back into your little sandwich and giving the growing on the intercostal muscles on the left side of your ribs. And then place your fingers back onto your shoulder. Pop up onto your right fingers. Press yourselves down and come up. And then I'm going to get you to cross your legs the opposite way. So first give your knees a little shake, shake. And then placing your opposite shin in front of the other. So see if you can have your shins in front of the other, which is Sukhasana. Or if you're quite open, you could have one heel in front of the other, which is called Siddhasana. Just sort of find the place that gives a little bit of that opening of your hip flexor, but the softness of your legs. Whichever variation. And then your hands back onto your thighs. And closing of your eyes, we're going to travel through cat and cow. So starting with your in-breath, I want you to lift your heart up. Eventually the lengthening of your throat by the lifting of your chin. Then the sigh upon your exhale, taking of your tailbone down and away. And I want you to take your lower floating ribs to the back of your floating ribs. And then, of course, with the in-breath, I don't want your belly button moving forward. I want more your heart lifting up. And the lovely sigh release upon your exhale. And at the end of your exhale, if it feels right, give your head a little shake, shake. And then bring yourselves back into growing. And so as you're lengthening, lifting in front of your chest, your shoulder blades, bottom edges of your shoulder blades can be drawn together. And with your exhale, allow your shoulder blades to slide apart. And still growing from your hips up. And then at the end of your next exhale, bring yourselves back to sitting tall, growing tall, lifting tall, sitting tall, eyes staying closed. And then keeping your palms onto your thighs, I want you to do a body dance. So move your chest forward, back, moving of your ribs side to side. You do big circular movements. Just sort of loosening up those tightness through the muscles around our spine. So we still have the strength, but just take away any of the tightness or the gripping. And then slowly bring yourselves back to stillness. So we're going to take ourselves into table pose. So just have the firm blocks near the front of the mat so they're there if you choose to use them throughout our practice. So the simplestness of table pose, having the verticalness of thighs and arms, and then just checking that all 10 pads of your toes or your fingers are down, but at the same time, the ball of your index finger down. So you're flattening all 4 sides of your hands, and you rock your hips side to side. Now in doing so, you can bend your elbows. So it's almost taking your body for a dance side to side. And the farther you take your hips to the side, feeling of those muscles slowly, awareness that they're tight, and maybe loosen them, just for the awareness. And of course, the sigh upon your exhale loosens those muscles a little bit more. And then once you have danced equally right to left, bring yourselves back to center. We're going to work a little bit with our core in class today. So we're going to start. I want you to take your right leg up and horizontal. Okay, so in doing so, your toes down, your hips neutral. So imagine again, there's that tray of champagne through the back of your hips. Find your focal spot down and extend your opposite arm forward. So now in doing so, you have that active energy through your legs, fired up, arms strong and long, but drawing everything to center with your core to ensure that you don't drop down or the rounding of your back. It's that center, almost as if you're lying onto the ground. Stillness to movement. So keep your body long with your in-breath. And on your exhale, slow exhale, draw your elbow and your knee together. So your slow, slow exhale. Eventually, elbow and knee together, maybe nose to knee. And then that slow growing and lengthening. Right to the horizontalness. And then slow compression. And with the compression, draw your belly back towards your spine, firing up the front of your core. And as you extend to horizontal, remember to activate the back of your core. And the next time your elbow and your knee are together, hold it together. Maybe even taking your forearm underneath your bent right knee. And then place your hands down, knee down. Shake side to side. And then I need you to flip your hands. So take the back of your hands to the mat. So your fingers will be pointing towards your shins. And just again, little tiny moving forward and back, just stretching out. And noticing, of course, the back of your right wrist might be a little bit tighter. And now I'll change sides. So first back into table pose, making sure you've got the whole top of your right foot pressing down. Left leg grows back. Hips are neutral. Find that focal spot and lengthening of your opposite arm forward. Now, the focus and the strength to this pose, don't forget to breathe. So let's all have a complete breath in. Stay long, a sigh on your exhale. Complete full breath in. And then we're going to close on the exhale. Elbow, knee together. Tuck your chin even towards your chest. Lengthening on your in-breath. The front and the back of your lifted leg is strong. And that lovely slow exhale. See if you can get your knee and your nose together. One more full lengthening, almost like the morning stretch. And a complete exhale and holding it together. It's like you put crazy glue. We're holding knee, elbow, nose all together. And then place your knee down, palms down. And this time go into the back of your hands, but I want your fingertips pointing together. And then just softly bend your knees side to side. And take a little, checking out the palms of your hands. And then I'll get you to place your palms back down, and we're going to go into a downward facing dog. So first thing is tuck your toes under before you even go up, and take your sitting bones back towards your heels. So your arms are really long and strong. All 10 pads of your fingers, all 4 sides of your palms. Then I want you to look at your knees and lift your hips up and stay your gaze towards your knees. So your knees are going to be just softly bent, our first downward facing dog. And then take your gaze towards your ankle, just to ensure that your head hangs. As you know, going for a little bit of a walk. Just ensuring you have that connection of the palms of your hands, the soles of your feet, or the balls of your feet, directing your heels down. And just a softening. So it's a soft movement through your knees, but the strength and the stillness from your fingers to your lower floating ribs. And then come to stillness, but lift your heels up. Your heels as high as you possibly can. See if you can go right onto your tippy toes and the groin of your thighs up towards your hips. Keep your hips high and slowly lower your heels down. Now look forward to the front of the mat and slowly walk forward. So as you're walking forward, you'll be folded forward at the front of the mat. Familiarity is just hold onto opposite elbow. And gently rock side to side. Now as you're rocking side to side, you can even bend your knees a little bit. Just give it a little bit more of the turning and allow the lengthening more so, not just through the length of your spine, the back of your legs, but just a soft turning through the hips and the waist. And then come back to center and place your palms onto your hips. Keep your knees soft and hinge to standing upright. Woo. And then your hands hang by your side. Close your eyes. Palms forward. Internal observation. So just ensure all 4 sides of your feet are down. So it's the root of the tree and your legs are growing tall. And as we had done, as we were sitting, lift your shoulders up. And then keep your body long. And on your exhale, your shoulders slowly lower down. And again, a little bit of pulsing of your fingers, of your hands. And then to the stillness. More awareness of the stillness as you blend together from movement. With your next in-breath, lift your fingers up to the sky. Now keep growing from your feet, right towards your belly button, but lean over towards the left. So ensure that your hips don't pop to the right. Keep your hips narrow and firm, and allow just the growing more so from the side of your ribs up to the side of your body. And then come back to center and change sides. And then back up to center, and your arms just drop down. And give them a little shake, shake. Now keep your knees soft and sweep your arms up to the sky. And then stay sitting. For a breath in. And on your exhale, just softly fold forward and down. place your hands on your legs at whichever height. So upon your in-breath, you can lift up halfway. Shoulder blades slide back, crown of your head forward. And slow exhale to descending. So do this with your eyes closed. Your hands whichever height of your legs for that assistant, taking your spine right to horizontal. Yeah, the loveliness of the exhale. One more. So keep your knees just soft and yet full extension, half lift. And then hands down onto your mat and walk yourselves back into a plank pose. So plank pose, your hands are in that same position as in downward dog. They're flared open. You always have the option of having your knees down. But I want your shoulders above your elbows above your wrist. Now, your core is activated. Ensure that your knees aren't dropping. They're staying firm, knees down or not. But really activate from the center of your body out. Have a full breath in. And on your slow exhale, bend your elbows and lower yourselves right down to the mat. Your forehead will settle, untucking of your toes. And then take your hands just a little farther back. So your thumbs are near your lower ribs. Tuck your shoulder blades together. Press your toenails down. And on your in-breath, lift yourselves for an upward cobra. And then that slow rippling, rib by rib down. Let's do it again. Shoulders back, heart open, lifting up, core activated. And down. One more time. Lift yourselves a little higher this time. Your belly button up towards your heart. Lower down. Tuck your toes under, but keep your knees on your mat and press yourselves up to a supported plank pose. Either knees down or up. We're going to go into upward facing dog. So everybody shift your weight forward and lift your heart up. So not your belly button forward, your belly button towards your spine, your hip, your chin lifting. So you can have your knees down, knees up, but really lengthening, keeping your core still, but heart open. We're going to go back into child's pose. So knees down, toes together, and then your head rests. Just allow your arms to be completely passive. And as you know, depending on your shoulders, having your hands in a position of comfort, they can be forward or back. And I'll get you to bring yourselves back into table pose. From table pose, you're going to go into lunge. So I just want you to take your left foot forward. So you can have your firm blocks if you need it. We're just going to be lifting up, so you might not be using it. So look back to make sure your big toe is pressing down. Front shin is vertical. And just the simplicity of the first is placing your hands onto your knees and pressing yourselves up. So again, it's that same, that's lifting from your chest up, your gaze to the sky. So a little lengthening through the whole front of your body. And softly bend your elbows, ripple down. Keep your legs as they are, but sweep your fingers back. With your in-breath, bring your palms together at heart center, your torso away from your thigh. Anjuriyasana. And then the exhale, ripple back down. You choosing the variation, your hand can be onto your knee, your palms can be together at heart center, or maybe your fingers up to the sky. So your tailbone is descending, but your spine is lifting. And one more time. Chest down, fingers sweep back. Again, whichever variation. If you've lifted your hands up to the sky, perhaps your palms together and your thumbs to the back of your skull. So just ensure that your hip flexor on your right side is staying long, but your core is activated. And arms up. Fingers down and tuck your back toes under. Pick your back knee up, and we're going to see if we can step 1 or 2 steps right to the front of the mat. And then fold it forward at the front of the mat. You can have your hands on blocks or not. Go for a bit of a walk. Now staying folded forward, I want both legs long, but start to bend your left knee. So you keep the growing and lengthening of your right leg, left knee bent, and just feel the depth of that stretching your upper hamstring towards your buttocks. And just choose how bent your left knee is. Lengthening the back, but still the front of your leg, your standing right leg, still that lifting. And then let's change sides. So straighten your left knee and bending of your right. And again, that little tight spot. And then I'll get you to go for a walk. So bending opposite knees, a little bit of strolling. And then place your hands right down onto your mat and walk yourselves back into a plank pose. So just where we had before. We're going to go into upward facing dog. So knees down or not. Sweep yourselves forward and up. Knees down, send those back towards your heels, back into the lovely child's pose. A little shaking of your shoulders, a little movement of your wrists. And then bring yourselves forward, and we'll just change sides with the lunge. So this time, take your right foot forward, so your opposite knee forward. Ensure that your back toes aren't pointing towards the side. So it's sort of directing that direct line from your Achilles tendon to your heel. Hand onto your front knee and lift yourselves up. Now we're going to go to sweeping. You choose your variation. So starting first with the lifting and the growing on your in-breath. And on the exhale, down, sweeping back. In-breath, lifting up. Exhale, down. Each in-breath growing and lifting a little bit more. Exhale, down, fingers back. One more time, lifting high. You choose whichever variation with your hands, but lengthening the side of your body to the pit of your arms. Allow that lengthening. And then place your fingers back down onto the mat. We're going to do a step forward again. Tuck your back toes under to pick your back knee up. And a big step forward to the front of the mat. Now, as you're folded forward at the front of the mat, I want you to cross your left shin in front of your right. So you'll have the outer edges of your feet together. And then slowly bending of your left knee. So with the bending of your left knee, it takes that lengthening through your right buttocks. So very similar as before, just take it a little bit deeper with the crossing of the legs. Letting the back of our legs grow long. Give your head a little shake. And then let's change sides. So just kind of having your opposite shin cross in front. Leg that's bent in front, bend that knee. And see if one side's a little tighter than the other. Again, you can use your firm blocks. if it gives a little bit more support as needed or not. Take yourselves again to that little stretching edge that it's open, but you're not feeling in resistance and tightness. And then uncross your legs, hands onto your hips. Hinge yourselves into standing upright, your arms right to the sky. And then in your hands, I want you to create a ball. So I'm just going to show you. So you have a little beach ball. And take your hips over towards the right and your beach ball towards the left. Now in this one, your hip can be traveled towards the right and maybe your opposite foot floating. We've done this before. So a lot of energy through the core to give that stability, and then the stillness of your standing ankle. Come back to center. We're just going to throw our beach ball the opposite. So allowing that lovely curving and opening of the left side of your body, and then the floating of your opposite arm. So find a slow sweat and breathe. Don't forget. So let's all have a full breath in and a complete breath out. And then come back to center. Lower your arms down. Little shake, shake. So you'll still be standing at the front of the mat. And as you form, your arms to fly up to the sky. Beside your exhale, swan dive out. So hands out, head melts all the way down. Hands onto your legs at whichever height. The support of a half lift up. And then down. Hands down, step your left foot right to the back of the mat. So I want this to be a high lunge. We're into crescent. So keep your back heel up. Place your hands into your front bent knee and lift up. And then bring your palms together at heart center. I want you to shoot your arms out to the side like the letter T. Lower your back heel down to take yourselves into Warrior Two. So with Warrior Two, the outer edges of your back foot is parallel with the back of the mat. We're going to change it just to a slight, maybe 30-degree angle. So I want you to take your back, actually no, we're going to do a little understanding. Look towards your front knee. Your front knee is bent. How often do your knee collapses in? Now, this time your back heel, take your back heel a little bit closer towards the mat, slight adjusting of the hips, and allows a little bit more ease of your knees staying open. So it's always those small adjustments. Take your arm, we're going to give yourselves a hug. So take forward, your front bent knee, have that arm cross underneath the other. Maybe bend your front knee a little bit more. And then either staying into the lovely hug or the back of your hands together or your palms. But I want you to take your gaze to the front of your mat. A little peek down to make sure your knee is aligned. Back leg is fired and lifting. Keep your legs strong and still. Take your arms back open into Warrior Two. And then place your front forearm onto your front thigh. Back palm up, lift to the sky, and extend forward. So you have that direct line, outer edges of your foot, side of your body. Now, with core, I'm going to give you some options. You can keep your forearm just softly touching of your thigh, or perhaps hovering. So notice as it's hovering, you have to fire up on both sides. Other variation is maybe extend both arms into a beach ball. So it's about firing up at the class. Big breath in. And on your exhale, let's just go into Goddess. Your hand on your back leg, lifting up tall. And then windmill your hands down and step yourselves back into a downward facing dog and go for a full walk, really loosening all up. Now from here, I want you to look forward to the front of the mat and the foot you don't normally walk forward with, take your first step with that. as you walk forward to the front of the mat. Place your hands on your legs, whichever height, for a half lift up. Exhale down, and I want you to step your opposite leg back. We're going to first go into crescent pose. So the step back is even farther than what you would imagine. Press your knee down and sweep your arms up. So your arms up, give that lifting, and then take them out to the side and sweep yourselves back into warrior two. First peek down towards your knee, then towards your foot at the back of the mat. A little bit of an angle, the ease of the opening, arms strong. So as doing so, it's that external rotation of your front thigh. So it has that scooping under. And then we're going to hug. So front knee, that hand crosses underneath the other. Give yourselves a hug. Now remember, even though we're hugging, that comforting, still keep your body activated, and whichever variation that you choose. Don't forget to breathe. All right, open your arms up and place your front forearm onto your front knee. And then from here, your extended back arm lifts up and all the way over. So in doing so, make sure your front knee stays bent. Often the changing of our upper body, our legs start to straighten. Keep working towards that horizontal, whichever variation. Forearm onto your thigh, maybe hovering, maybe into the beach ball. Breath in. Breath out. Let's go into goddess. Back hand onto your back leg. Lift it up high. And then windshield your hands down. Take yourselves back into child's pose. Whichever variation that feels right. Sometimes it's nice just your forehead resting onto your hands. One hand stacked on top of the other. Or your fingers back. Did a little bit of firing up for our Hatha. But it allows more awareness. We start to be stretching out those fired up muscles. And as we're into child's pose, let's do a little walk. So walk your hands over towards your left side, just making sure your right sitting bone stays towards your right heel. It doesn't lift up. And then change sides. So just a little stroll, and this time over towards the right. And enjoying that lengthening through the side of the body. Then bring yourselves back up. Sit down. And swing your legs forward. Okay. So we're going to open into a V. You can have your firm blocks in front of you. I'm just going to turn to the angle so you can see a little bit more. I'm going to be doing a couple of variations with this. So the firm blocks in front of you can give a little bit of assistance. As at the beginning of the class, scoop your buttocks under and allow that groin lifting through your torso. So this time, as at the beginning, place your right fingers onto your right shoulder and then slide your left hand down your thigh. And then take your gaze up. So a couple of variations. Your hand can be onto your thigh, maybe your forearm on towards your shin, maybe your hand down towards your foot. But have a look up, and then your fingers can stay resting onto your shoulder, softness of your head, or creating that letter C. Make sure that the back of your legs are flat, so pressing down to the mat. And just make sure, sometimes what happens is the front knee bends a little bit, so flatten it down. And just find the variation. And then we'll change sides. So first thing is lift your shoulders up and back and down. Fingers onto your opposite shoulder. Sliding. It's almost like you're pressing of your muscles away towards your foot. So lean and then take your gaze up. Just allows the assistance of your lower ribs to tuck under. And then choose whichever variation. Position of your hand, fingers onto your shoulder, head, or extension. Just figure out what feels right for you. Bring yourselves back up. Roll your shoulders a few times. And then we're going to travel forward. So have the firm blocks at whichever height. And lift your arms up. So just make sure your body stays long. And then as if you're reaching forward, take your arms forward. And then your forearms either onto the height. Just choose a height of the firm block so that your forearms can rest and your head to hang. Now when doing this forward fold, draw your toes back towards your shins. It's also another way of thinking about it is almost moving your heels away. But again, the back of your legs, working on having them to be straight. And give your head a little shake, shake. Allow the softness through the back of your body as much as it is through the front of your body. Lovely, just the passiveness. Nice to come out. So just place your hands down to bring yourselves sitting upright. And then place your hands on the back of your knees and lift them up and take them forward. And actually just wrap your shins around your forearms around your shins and just allow a little bit more softness to your inner thighs that we've been stretching. And then back to sitting upright. So still sitting with your hands towards the front of the mat. And we're going to take ourselves into thread the needle. So take your hands, scoop it behind the back of your right or your left leg, doesn't matter, and then place your ankle above your opposite knee. And hands back. Now with your hands back, I want you to point your fingers towards the back of the mat. Draw your shoulder blades together. Then keep your shoulder blades together and turn your palms so that your fingers are towards the front of the mat. Okay. Just variations we did at the beginning. And then bend your elbows to slide your extended front leg back and then bring your shoulders forward. So sort of find that option that gives you that opening but without strain. Sometimes if it's too far, you've still got that collapsing. So finding a place that you can press your hands down for the lengthening of your chest, just as we would do in a downward dog. It allows more ease of keeping your bent, your right or your left knee, whichever one, foot flexed. Tuck your shoulder blades down. And sometimes it's a little bit of exploring, taking yourselves to this variation of thread the needle. And if it feels too much, then coming back a little bit. Maybe drawing it in a little bit more. Now just a little bit of a magnet. Your chest towards your inner calf. And yet that same magnet is drawing your shoulder blades together. Now I'll get you to come out. And as before, take your feet to the outer edge of the mat, your knees bent, and your hands just hang forward. Give your wrist a little shake, shake. And then we'll change sides. So first start by the lowering and lengthening of your legs, hands back. So have them into your fingers pointing to the front of the mat, heels down. Then place your opposite ankle onto your opposite knee and draw in. Now this time, turn your palms so your fingers point to the back of the mat. And then choose this where the position is. Front leg might be a little bit more straightened or bent. Drawing that across almost across your collarbones to run parallel with your shin. And even though it's that opening, make sure not just that it's the opening of your one of your hip buttocks, whichever variation you took, but make sure your thighs on that leg is at ease. So just really enjoying. And then, of course, the fullness of your in-breath. I want yourselves almost to lengthen your body a little bit more so. And the sigh on your exhale, the whole back of your body settles, but the front of your body stays open. And then now you bring yourselves out. Again, folding forward. Shins supporting your inner forearms and head just to hang. And then bring yourselves up. And I'm going to get you to lie down onto your back. Now we're going to do something completely different we haven't done before. So you'll have to listen to my instructions. Lying onto your mat, I want you to lie the center of your mat onto your side. We're first going to start with the variation of stretching of the thigh bones, which we've done before. So your upper leg, I want you to just bend your knee and see if you can hold onto your ankle, your thigh. Just sort of find that place that's the opening. Now in doing so, ensure that your upper bent knee hasn't flared up. So still keeping your knees hip distance apart, and whichever variation is most comfortable for your head, as well as your balance. And as you're doing so, moving of your pelvic forward and your knee back. So just take it to a much deeper variation. Releasing the muscles of our thighs for all that biking we've all been doing. Now, lower your leg down, and I want you to roll over so you're onto your back, but you're going to be lying on the outer edges of your mat, okay? And lower your legs down. From here, lift your arms up to vertical, and then hold onto your opposite elbow and take it behind your head. So this is what you can often do at the beginning of a class. Now, in doing this, I just have to make a little twist. In doing this, I want you to take your feet to the outer edge of the opposite side. Okay? So opposed to lying along one side of the mat, keep your body long, but take your heels to the opposite side. And then I want you to just walk your shoulders a little bit towards the opposite side of the mat. We're creating the letter C. Okay? And even in doing so, crossing your opposite ankle above. So we're creating the letter C. We're lying on one side of the mat. Our elbows and our feet are on the opposite side. And then see if you can direct your breath into the lengthened side of your body, creating the letter C. And then I'll get you to unwind, lower your arms by your side. Take your legs lying onto the same side of the mat that you are. And I'm going to get you to roll over so that you're lying on the opposite shoulder in the center of your mat. Okay. So I'm just going to do it the same. No, I'll switch sides with you guys. And it's that same stretching of the quads. Okay, so drawing your heel back towards your buttocks. Your other leg extends forward. Make sure, it's almost like you can almost put a firm lock between your knees to ensure that they're not flaring open. So the back of your body to the front of the body, yet the front of your body to the back. So we're creating a little sandwich again. Imagine your tailbone can scoop under. And so the front of your body lengthens as with the back. And then lower your leg down and lie onto your side. Okay, but you'll be on now the side of the mat. We're going to create the letter C on this side. So first start by the lifting of your arms up to vertical. Then hold opposite elbow, the opposite than you did before. Now this time our first variation is I want you to softly take your elbows a little bit more towards the opposite side of the mat. We're going to do our upper body first. And then take your feet to the outer edge of the other side of the mat. And then crossing your front or your upper leg on top of your left. This is a lovely pose. And sometimes it assists someone to help you into this pose, but I've held it for quite a while. And then when you come back to straightening, you're sure that one side of your body is longer than the other. So it's just giving yourselves that lovely growing and lengthening. Make sure your shoulders are of comfort. Give it a little bit more space between your lower floating ribs and your upper hip on one side. And then slowly unwind. Adjust yourself so you're now lying into the center of your mat. Keep your knees bent and your feet on the outer edge of the mat, and then your knees just settle together. So walk your feet back into center and draw your right knee into your chest and lift your foot up to the sky. So your hands will be behind the back of your leg, and then your fingers, give a little massage again. See if you can find the tightness that we've built up and allowing the ease. And then just your hands supporting. So your lifted leg, keep your foot flexed. And even though you're directing of your thigh towards your torso, still drawing your hips away. So allow the back of your leg to be as long as the front of your leg. And then bend your knee. Keep your hands onto your shin and lower your opposite leg down. Now keeping your one knee bent, I want you to open it to the side. So your hand is there to sort of encourage your knee to the side, but also give the support so you're not feeling any of that strain. And just give that lovely last hip opening. I mean, if you have a bolster or your firm blocks are by your side, you can use those to support, but we're not going to stay very long. And then just come back to center. Keep both of your knees bent, but draw your opposite knee towards your chest. And then straightening of your leg. Again, the massage power of your fingers, finding that tight spot. And it's sort of being aware where the tightness is. And then see with the size of your exhale, you can allow those muscles to be of ease. Your shoulder blades are heavy, they're connected, the back of your skull onto the mat. Your throat is long but at ease. And the simplicity and ease of stretching the back of the legs. Bend your lifted leg and lower your opposite leg down. We're going to do again that lovely hip opening. So ensure one leg is long and flat, and then open your opposite knee to the side. So your hand again is there to assist, to open. And just make sure, imagine that you're standing, your lower straight leg, imagine that you're standing on it. So standing on your foot, so your legs are long. Line that leg, not to be fired up, but to be activated, to help with the alignment through the hips, through the side of our body, even though we've lengthened the ribs. See if we can lengthen them both sides equally. And then allow, with the opening of your knee to the side, muscles through your inner hip flexors to be at ease. And now with the assistance of your hand, draw both of your knees into your chest and just a little bit of the movement. And then stay laying on your back. We're going to take ourselves into a lovely happy baby. So knees to chest. Take your elbows to your inner knees, and then your hands wrap around the outer edges of your feet and rock side to side. Now I want you to keep your left hand holding your left foot in happy baby, but lower your opposite leg back. So as you lower your opposite leg back, you can start by your foot onto the mat and maybe lowering your leg right to straightness, although I still like to keep a little bit of a bend. And then allows more ease of directing of your knee towards the pit of your arm. And then change sides. This time holding on to the outer edge of your opposite foot, or your other one down, and just a little bit away. So even though you're directing your foot away, you're inviting your knee towards your armpit. And then draw your knee in. Let's do one more little happy baby. A few more rocking side to side. And then your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. Draw your knee and your nose together so you have the rounding of your back. And then lower yourselves all the way down for Shavasana. And time to allow your body, first the alignment of your feet on the outer edge of your mat, your arms by your side, and a full complete breath in. Sigh on your exhale. Just allow all of your muscles to be resting onto your bones opposed to holding. Fingers are soft. The skin on your face is smooth. And the stillness of the body, the stillness of your eyes, and settling into your Shavasana. Slow moving of your fingertips and the ends of your toes. Just as with a slow awakening, a slow movement, but drawing your breath in a little deeper and taking that nourishment of your breath to allow your body to surface. Moving of your ankles, movement of your wrists. And the bending of your knees as you gently roll over onto your right side, your head resting onto your right upper arm. And direct a breath into the back of your body. Breathe into this space. Place your left hand down. Press and bring yourselves into sitting upright. Sit in a position of comfort. If you have your legs crossed or even extended, draw your sitting bones back and your hands to settle onto your thighs. Just take a moment for adjustment. Your head is balanced on the crown of your head is nicely drawn to the alignment of your throat, and your head perfectly balanced on the top of your spine. Allow with each in-breath to sit a little taller. Allow the energy through the center and the lifting, the softness, your outer muscles, and your skin. And then bring your palms together and into heart center and the soft bowing of your head. Bowing always to the light within. And if we are righteous in the heart, there will be beauty in the character. And if it is beauty in the character, there will be harmony in the home. And when there is harmony in the home, there will be order in the nation. And when there is order in the nation, there will be peace in the world. I wish you namaste.